Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hello,
Evening, you're welcome.
how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. And this is Fatherless Yet Fathered Initiative, and this program is Fatherless Matters with Favour, and I have a beautiful guest here in the house, and her name is Dyan Constantine. She is the author of Fatherless Daughter. Yes. Okay, yes. So we have been on this since this month. Last 2 weeks, we had an amazing session. I mean, it was mind blowing. And
Yes, it was.
again, we are going to have another mind-blowing session, and we are talking about something that for that is very crucial, very important. So if you're online, please stay glued to where you are. Like, do not touch your dial. I mean, don't touch the dial. And if you know anybody that needs to participate in this discussion, in this conversation, please do us a favor of inviting the person to hear, because we want everyone that needs to hear. And the thing is that this thing is not something that everybody talk about, and because nobody's talking about it, a whole lot of hard work is being caused. And like Pastor will say, that fatherlessness is the biggest pandemic, is the second pandemic hitting the whole world right now, because a lot of crimes, a lot of issues, a lot of all the societal vices that we can think of are attached to fatherlessness. And until we begin to see it for what it is and begin to handle it the way we are supposed to handle it, we are not going to get it right in that area. And because family is a basic unit of the society, when the foundation is wrong, every whole thing is going to be wrong. So I am excited to welcome you. So please watch and please ask your questions, and of course we want your contributions. And again, thank you for joining us. God bless you. We love you. Okay, welcome, Diane. I mean, I'm so excited to have you again. How was your week?
Thank you. Well, it was good. It was a transition type of week for me, as I
Okay.
was finishing off one area of my life and about to start a new area.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
that's the plan. That was what my week was consisting of.
Wow, congrats. And that's a nice step for 2021. That's a
Yes,
huge thank
yes.
you for that. Okay, so I got a lot of this thing. I got lots of comments concerning our last session. I mean, and some people were really asking questions. I was excited, and I launched my first podcast channel last 2 weeks, and I particularly spoke about the things that we treated in our live session, and people were really interested in it. And I'm like, thank God that we're talking about these things. Okay, so
Yes.
today let's dive in. We are talking about reasons why fathers can be absent in their home or in the life of their children. And last 2 weeks, we talked about the contributions of the single mothers when it comes to fatherlessness, and how they can help to help their children, how they can support the fathers, and how they can make it a bit easier for their children. And while we're talking about that topic, we talked about that fathers, that we also need to have people that like a single mother can introduce a father figure to the children to help the children maintain a good position and of course not be lacking in that area, then we also say that single mothers should ensure that they're not sowing the wrong seed in their children. I mean, I can't even talk about that less, because a lot of children are not in good terms with their fathers because of what their mothers told them, and these things block ways for the children. It makes it more difficult for the fathers to assess the children. And then we talked about something else that is very important, that that father figure is not something you can avoid. It's not an option in the life of a child. It's not an option. It's not optional. So the earlier we get this, the better, because I think what people treat it with a bit of why they trivialize that area, or they treat it with little or no concern, is because they think because a woman is strong, has money, can do this, that she can take the place of a father. No woman can be a father. We've said this and we can't say it enough. No woman can be a father. I am a fatherless child. I am a fatherless child, and even Dyan is also had like his fatherless. Let me even because her father was also absent. Yes. So when we talk about this thing, we're not saying it looks like we are growing very well, like we have everything gotten, we have it, but something is missing somewhere. As an adult, I know that there is this part of me that is missing, and I keep looking for it in every man I want to date. I mean, I keep looking for it in every man I want to date, and that's not the right thing. It is something that my father would have filled. So we should start seeing the father, that father need, as basic, as important as it is. Don't trivialize it. Don't say, I want to give birth and then another person. No. Let there be a father figure. It is as important as the development of that child, and that's just it. So you can go down and watch the video. It's right there on our Facebook page and even on this page. So now today we are looking at reasons why fathers can be absent. And I know that it's going to be a loaded session, so let's even start. What is the meaning of father absence? Because a lot of people don't even understand that, and they think because a father and a mother is in the house, that the child has a mother.
Yes.
So
they see absence only in the physical realm. It's like if the person is not there physically, then you have an absent father. But no, because some children are in their households with their fathers, but the father is absent.
Exactly. So I wrote something some time ago that a father, that some children are living in the same house with their fathers. Now, a father can be absent in a particular area. So this father is present when it comes to providing food, like paying school fees and providing the accommodation. But when it comes to the emotional needs of that child, the father is absent. Is that true?
Yes. And sometimes why they're absent, they know their responsibilities, but they don't know their role. So it's role versus responsibility.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's even major. A lot of people don't even know their roles as a father. It is very crazy. Even mothers. So mothers think that they can do their roles. I'm reading a book by Dr. Miles Moran, and I even want to get. In fact, I've gotten the one for the men. How the purpose and power. I think the power and purpose of a woman. Now I've gotten the one for the men. Now the thing is that these two roles, people want to merge the two of them together and become like one, like make it two in one. And the truth is that it can never be like that. It is not supposed to be like that. So if fathers really understand their roles, the different roles, I think they would do better.
Yes, they would. They would. But I believe, though, that sometimes, not to make excuses, as I always state, but it can be based on their socialization.
Okay.
So yes, they are better at providing, better at doing more things for their children, but they still don't know the role of a man in a household. the man in a child, the father in a child's life, the husband in his wife's life. They don't know that rule. So sometimes they also think that if the child said, you are not there for me, they're gonna equate it with the fact that, oh, but I pay your school fee, or I ensure that you live somewhere, or all of those materialistic, tangible things I do for you, and that should be enough. But it's because they don't understand that they have a role to play in molding that child into a human, into an adult.
Yes, yes, and
So
especially
if they didn't see anybody, they didn't have anybody to emulate or to even observe doing those things, it is hardly likely that they are going to be able to do it without any assistance when it comes to the time.
wow, wow. As you were saying this, something just came to my mind. When we concerning this father's role, excuse me, if a father understands that the son, his male child, is going to copy from him, because that's part of the roles that those male children and the father is supposed to play in the home. So the male child is supposed to have a role model, and that's what the father is supposed to provide.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of them have an accurate role model, so they just come and do what they know. And the girls, that is the first place the girl is supposed to get her love, like her own original love. That is where you're supposed to get it. And most children that don't have this kind of love, watch them. I know, I've experienced it. They're always seeking for love.
Yes, yes.
Our next session, we're going to be talking about the different needs of the female children and of the male children. And that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so now about father absence, we have said that a father can be present and then
and be absent
and not be fully present in the house. And when I first talk about fatherlessness, but one of the things I've really had to face in the course of running my initiative is that the first thing people have in mind when I mention fatherless is that the father is late. That's the first thing people have in mind. So it takes me a lot of time to come and say it's not just for people who have lost their fathers, even those children whose fathers are alive but not active in their lives. And it takes them time to really understand, because we don't even understand the term father absence or the term fatherlessness. So we are saying that for a child to have a father to be absent, it is more than just losing the father. It is more than just being born. Maybe your father died when you were very young. It's more than that. A father can be alive, even in the same house, and still very much absent. Okay, so number one, we want to look at the reasons why this can be so. So please, Dyan, what do you think about this?
All right. So for me, I know intimately situations where fathers are absent in their children's lives because of the mother's decision to not allow the father to have a relationship with his children. I that is personal to me because I've experienced it with a loved one. And so that's one of the reasons. And I think it is such a bad thing, because that a father being absent due to a mother being scorned is no excuse for a child to go on believing that they don't have a good father. And that's the myth that it circulates. Once the father is absent, he's not trying hard enough but sometimes trying hard can land him in prison, can land that man in prison. I know that personally and intimately, that it has happened in instances where the father tried but gets nowhere, and then eventually serves time for his insistence. So fathers can be absent because of the mothers and what they choose to do for their children or on behalf of their children, good or bad. Yes. So that's one reason I know. And I also would like to highlight that some fathers are absent because of the mother's family.
Yes, yes. Again, that one is very.
The influence of the mother's family. Yes.
Okay, so if we talk about the mother's decisions, sometimes is it because okay, like we said the other time, is it because the mothers or the like here we have some matured ladies, maybe 40, 45, who have had it very rough during their relationship days or had it very rough with men, and they have made up their minds, no more marriage, I just want to have my kids, and
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. And then we also have the people, some people who maybe after giving birth to the children, they have issues and they decide, no, I'm not going to allow you raise my child for me, that kind of thing. I think that's part of the things we're talking about.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so another reason why I think that some fatherless, that some why we have
Mhm.
fathers who are absent. Can we talk about sickness?
Yeah, sure. Those are like illness, death can also be reasons, but those are without influence, without decision. Because you don't go out and order death and you don't go out and order illness, you know? So those are like, you
So
can
it's
always
not
say,
planned, it's not something that you are intentionally doing this time. So something,
yeah, yeah.
and it means that we can divide this into two. So we have the intentionality, the intentional reasons, and then we have the ones that happen unintentional, like it is not planned,
Mhm.
but circumstances has made him to, but
And
circumstances
for
has made him to take that route. So we have people who like people who were really willing to be great fathers, and then something happens, they remain on the sick bed for 1 year, for 2 years, and as long as a father is on the sick bed for 1 year, for 2 years, he can't do really much, he can't do so much,
no,
and that's
no.
the factor. Okay, so now we go to another point. I'm thinking of something. Then this issue of traveling out from your country. So I know
Mhm.
people who their fathers have been out of their country of residence for more than 10 years and they just talk on phone, or the man comes once in a while to visit the family. What do you think about that?
But in some of those cases, the parent, the father is absent physically, but his presence, because he just like a man in prison, he can still have influence
Over
in
the
terms of how the child or the children are raised. So
wow.
being abroad, it is never going to be good that you're not having physical contact with your parent. However, some children have had their parents abroad and they have turned out much
Yeah,
better. And they
yeah,
have no lacking, they don't have any lacking because their fathers still have influence and the decision making is still made by him, even though he's not present in the country or in
exactly.
that household. So that's why I always highlight the whole idea of absence is not just physical, because as we said earlier, children have their fathers in their households and they still don't have a presence in that household, you
Now,
know.
that some fathers in Nigeria, we have some fathers who traveled abroad and never ever came back. They are not yet back, and they do not communicate with their children.
Wow.
So, in those cases, the women, in fact, some people have gone and nobody ever heard about them again. And so the woman took over and started doing the things that the man is supposed to have be doing. Then, when we talk about this issue too, then another thing that I think that make men sometimes they are tired, the overwhelming situation of the economy, they are not able to meet their needs now. Excuse me, I read something. Men like to be solution givers. When they come to a point when they're not able to provide solutions for the family, they become withdrawn. Like they feel like they are not doing their best.
Mm-hmm.
And now, this is where we need to tell our fathers that We understand that you want to provide money, you want to provide this, you want to make sure you are the head of the family. That's great. I mean, we love it. But when you are not able to provide money, provide the other ones that you can provide at the moment.
But sometimes, though, sometimes women are guilty of emasculating men.
What if the man has lost his job?
Yes, fine. But I'm saying emasculating a man, and even if you are the bigger earner in your household, you don't have to make your husband feel like he's less than. And a lot of
Yes.
women are guilty of that. And that is something that can cause this man to, it can affect him psychologically. And as I said, I'm not making any excuse, no excuse to not take care of your children or be there for your children. But different circumstances will, same circumstances will have different effects on different individuals. Yes? So we have to be careful to mind, you know, how we think of a man, the role that he's supposed to be playing. We have to stop that. We have to stop emasculating our men too, and give them the opportunity to be men. Allow them to take care of their families, and not in a way where it's always about financial, but give them the opportunity to play their role. Don't emasculate them and then you blame them for not being good fathers or not being a father to their children. Don't do that. It makes no sense to me. You can't take on their role and then you expect them to still do their role. No, it's already been done. So allow them to be fathers.
Exactly, exactly. In a lot of times, when a man loses, one of the problems why this men even behave like this is when the man is not able to provide. Some men are hardworking, but things does not just fall in place for them. Why some people are lazy, we can't really like. I know there are men who are not really. Even if you push and push and push, they have one excuse or the other. I've met men that
True.
their wife money support one business or the other, they will mishandle. They want, they always have one excuse why they're not doing well. Now, for the men who are hardworking and they are doing well, but things has not just fallen in place for them, and the woman has a role to play in that case. But that the woman makes sure that the children does not in any way look down on their father because he is not providing what he's supposed
Yes,
to provide.
yes,
So because
yes.
that kind of case, if the woman is not careful, the woman can begin to nag and then can begin to complain, can begin to tell the children that your father is lazy, he's not helping, he's not, that kind of thing. And that is going to affect the way the children see their fathers.
Yes, yes. That's so true. That's so true.
As they begin to grow, they will think that it is only their mother that really cares for them. So no matter what the father,
Yes,
because
yes,
their mom has already spoiled their mind, has already sown a bad seed concerning their father. So no matter what the father does for them, they will not think that he is doing enough.
yes. That's true. That's true.
And so when this thing begins to happen, the man now begins to get frustrated. He feels like he's not accepted. He feels like he's not supposed to be there. And some people cannot handle frustration, so they just disappear.
Yes, true, true. And unfortunately, that's the case for a lot of men. A lot,
Exactly.
many men. Yes, that's their situation, and it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
And I started having this thing. I pray for fathers, and one of the things I pray for fathers is that they are able. A lot of fathers would have done well if they had better women in their lives.
Yes, that's
A
so
lot
true.
done well if they had better decent women in there. So I always pray for them that, especially our young men, that they marry the right kind of people.
Yeah.
I didn't used to believe that adultery is really high, but these days, oh my goodness, are you seeing what is happening? That
Yeah.
women are even cheating, like even in the marriage, are cheating more right now, and
Yes.
that is a whole lot, a whole lot, a whole lot. Okay.
Yes.
So And another thing that has been coming to my mind concerning this, the reasons why fathers are always can be absent, some fathers can be absent, is the issue of, okay, let me even tell a story. I shared a story on my podcast on Saturday, and one of the things, and that story is about a girl, a young girl. Their mother died many years ago, maybe about 5 years ago. And after the burial of their mother, their father left them and disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So now their grandmother is the one taking care of them. I even have another boy in my class whose father left them and disappeared after the death of their mother.
Mm.
So now, why do these men live after the death of the women? I don't understand.
I think they feel weak. They feel. I'm just guessing, but I think it's a case where, as we said last week, 2 weeks ago, when we said a mother cannot father her children, I think it's the other way around now. Those fathers know they cannot mother their
Exactly.
children.
Yeah, I think so.
You
Oh,
know?
that's
So
very good.
they feel incompetent, they feel inept, they feel like they were not they are not. Remember, a woman is a primary parent.
Yes.
And the father is a supporting parent. So at this point now, the father feels, and if he doesn't have a good family, of supporting him, he will be overwhelmed and say, I can't do this. Can't do this. And some of them really just leave. Others have, stayed and tried, and it just comes down to the person's tenacity, and ability to understand that it's their responsibility. Some people can are fleeting. They'll fly away and say it's not my business. I don't have to care for them. And they're with my mother, they're with my parents, and they should be all right. But that's not how it goes. But for everybody, it's a different reality. It's a different reality. But I think it comes down to feeling overwhelmed and saying, I can't do this without even trying.
I totally agree with you, because I think last 2 weeks, or early this month, my colleague came to work and was telling a story of a young man whose wife died, while trying to put to bed. So she died after putting to bed. When the wife died, the man ran into the bush and stayed there for days. Nobody could find him. Now, that man did not recover from the event. He died I think this month or last month.
Wow.
He couldn't handle it. So some people are absent, especially when the wife is not there, because of the shock of the death of the woman. Some people cannot just imagine that they are going to want to handle that responsibility.
Too
So
much. It's too
them,
much.
no, they can't even imagine it. But then that's not even the best option, because if you're not there for the children, who would not be there for them?
Ah.
Yes, that's so sad. I'm so sad. Rather, I mean, I feel for that child. Now that child is fatherless and is even motherless too. So I think I need to tell fathers this: please, just be strong. I know that things happen.
But don't you think sometimes that's just selfishness, though, more rather than anything else? It's just selfishness.
Sometimes they even run away to marry another woman, and to marry another woman, and now start giving birth to that woman, and now forget the children that they've given birth to.
Yes, I think that's selfishness, though, because I believe you are not even thinking about the children who will be left behind.
Yeah.
You're just taking a decision to say, no, the mother did not ask for the death. I don't think it's not like she committed suicide. She died, having gone to bed. So she didn't take that decision on her own. It happened. Life happens. But no, you have decided that it's too much for you and you need to go too. So you have taken a selfish decision. That's what I think.
Exactly. So they should even be more considerate. But they should even look at the future of the children. So if you leave, who is going to take care of your children?
Yes, who is going to do that?
And if you were the one that died, you would have expected your wife to stay back and take care of the children. So
more than likely, the wife would have, because that's how women are built.
Exactly.
We are built that way.
Then I'm also thinking that another major factor why some men leave their children and their children suffer and go through a whole lot in life is because the fathers, they are being distracted by other women outside. So I've seen a lot of fathers who have children, they leave their children and they are maybe living with another woman, a young girl, and they just forget their families entirely. You know, in Africa, they can say it is it can be called juju, but me, I don't believe it is juju. It is just being distracted. It is
But is
like
it that they're distracted or they chose to be distracted? Because I tend not to want to blame women. When a woman comes and says she's going to be with a married man or, whatever, I tend not to be the person to say it's the woman's fault. I believe that the knot was tied with the husband or the wife, whomever the cheating spouse is, I think is the
exactly.
guilty party. If you know your weaknesses in terms of being married and you say to yourself, I don't want to be in certain circumstances or certain situations, then you avoid those situations at all costs. So I don't accept when fathers are not present in their homes, or men are not present in their homes, are not taking care of the children, to gravitate towards believing it's a woman. No, it's you. It's you made a decision to do
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Also, I've had situations where people say, oh, the man has a new wife. He has a new wife. So he has children with one wife and he divorced and they're separated and he got married or he's with another woman, however formal the marriage may be. And then they will say, it's the woman that is causing the man not to take care of his children. That's not true. You're
That's
a
not
weak man. You're a weak man who now has an excuse for not taking care of his children.
exactly. Yes.
So I don't blame the other woman. For me, it's not her, it's you. You're a weak individual who can't make decisions for yourself and you don't understand your role nor your responsibility to your children. That's it.
Exactly. And sometimes when this thing happens, it also happens with men who are widowers and maybe they now remarry. When they
Mhm.
remarry, they tend to shift their attention from the children of the first wife or the former
Previous,
wife.
yes,
That,
yes.
yes, and sometimes we tend to even blame the new wife that he's the one
Yes,
distracted. I think the man has a responsibility. He has to take charge. Say, these are my children too, and even yours are my children too. So I can't even do without any. I want the two. But when you now begin to choose and begin to pay a particular attention to only one, to maybe the ones of the second wife and leave the second, and leave the first children, you are not taking charge of your home. I really think so.
no, no, no. And as I said, I will not blame this new wife or new woman because you had your children before this woman. You're supposed to say, if you hear that woman say to you, you're not supposed to give your children things, or you're not supposed to do this, or you're not supposed to go to their recitals or any function that in relation to them, then that woman could never be for you. And you have to have that ability to recognize when this person is not for you because of what he or she is suggesting about
Yeah,
your children. It doesn't make any sense. It still comes down to you making a decision to not even recognize that that cannot be right for you not to take care of your children because another woman tell you not to take care of your children. You're weak.
wow, wow, that's just the truth. Thank you for that point.
Yeah,
I mean, men need to come to a point where they stand their ground. A
yeah,
lot of I've met a lot of young adults who grew up with their stepmothers, and each time they tell you their experiences with their stepmother or with their fathers after their mother died, you will know that this is something that the man should have corrected from the very
yes,
from the very
exactly,
have to take charge of your
exactly.
home and know that these children are also yours. I mean, you're going to give account for every one of them. And if you're not doing well, I don't even know what you want to tell God. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing another reason why I think some fathers can be absent, why fathers can be absent in the life of their children is how fathers were raised.
Yeah.
How fathers were raised. So A lot of fathers in Africa, particularly, we are raised by very strict men. When if look, let me use our part of Africa, Nigeria, and then my own ethnic group, Igbo, where the men go to the farm, get their farms done, do their this thing, get their yam, and then the male children are only told, or the fathers only know that their roles is only bring food, and the women will raise the girls for them to get married, and the men will sit, or the young boys will sit and watch their fathers, and at the end get married. They get them a young girl, they get married to them and stuff like. So some people are still raising their children the way they were raised. So I know of a family that said that when they were growing up, they used to stand by the door. If the father is coming back from work, everybody will stand in attention,
Really?
one after the other. So as daddy is entering, say, okay, good evening, sir, good evening, sir, good evening. That is how you greet daddy. And after greeting daddy, you disappear. You don't have any conversation with daddy. There is nothing that you can do with daddy. Daddy, oh my goodness, that person said that the first time he saw a father and a child shaking hands, and even the father patting the son on the back, that he was so shocked. Now you see that kind of strictness, and some fathers, in fact,
That's not having a relationship with your children, though.
that's just
It's too rigid. That's too rigid.
that's very very rigid. So now some people were raised with this in this kind of homes. Personally, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, when he was alive, for every single correction he wants to make, my grandfather uses his walking stick. So because he uses walking stick to work. So for every single correction, so when my grandfather is coming, no, no, okay, I think she's okay. Are you there? So when my grandfather is coming, no matter where you are, you start running. You start running, you
Wow.
start moving yourself. So that my grandfather raised some male children. He had male children. So I'm telling you that I have an uncle who behaves almost exactly like my grandfather.
That's how he was socialized. So he believes that's the way.
So you see, that's one of the reasons. That's a major reason why you have fathers in the home who are not interested in what children are becoming, who are not fully involved in the lives of their children. So they just pay school fees, and they say, okay. I even know some fathers who dictate the course a child is going to read in school. So you don't even know the child so well. You see, you don't even know what the child's ability. So what you just know is that I know you're going to do medicine. I know you're going to do this one. That kind of thing, and it is affecting children. It is affecting them. I also know another story of a father who used to only who never attended a school any PTA meeting for the child, who never
Mhm.
really involved in the child's life. So one day he went outside, and they were mentioning his children's names. I think the native names, and the man could not remember that they were calling his own children's name. It was that bad,
How,
and I was
how
like,
many
wow.
how many children he had or has?
I wonder how many children that he has that he could not remember the native names of of his children, and crazy. Some people don't even know the birthdays of their children.
Yes, I know. And it's not like they're having memory loss. It's just they don't care. Doesn't matter.
I don't understand. So these things are the reasons why children keep feeling that their fathers are not involved in their lives. And I also have the story of even children, when they notice that you are not interested in their affairs, they stop to tell you.
Yeah.
They stop to want to get you involved. And that is why you see some children can do some things, and the fathers will say, my child cannot do this. But you don't even know your child, but your child did it. Because if
Yes.
you know your child enough, you should be able to know what your child can do. And
Abilities are, yes.
when children make mistakes, they do not run home.
True.
Because if I think I heard somebody say, and I love what he said. I mean, I love that idea. That's Mr. Matthew, and I had him in one of our sessions last 2 months. He said something. He said, as long as I'm concerned, my child's first role model should be me.
True.
So
True. I totally believe and agree with that.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Before the child starts saying, my child should be able to love what I am doing, that he says, I want to be like my dad.
And be impressed by you.
Exactly. But that's not the case in a lot of families. Some children don't even want to try what their fathers tried, because their fathers have made a lot of mistakes, and they're not even willing to accept those mistakes.
Yeah. Because without admission, there can be no correction, and then it's going to perpetuate this whole cycle of dysfunctionality.
Yes.
That's what I think. That's what I think happened.
Are you ready to admit that these things are wrong? So you see, a child messes up and runs to a friend. A friend is not going to want to come and tell you what to do, and sometimes because they run to the wrong people, they now end up into something bigger than what they have even done.
They are misguided and misdirected. You know, it's just a spear wrong turns after that.
Exactly.
They're going deeper and deeper into the hole. But if the father or the parent had created an atmosphere where I make a mistake, I'm willing to say yes, I did. How do I now resolve this? But that atmosphere is not there. It's more punishment, even for the truth. Even if you admit, even if it's just punishment. You made a mistake, you must be punished. You must be berated. It's always about that.
Exactly. You know, oh my goodness, as you just said this, I just remembered something. Last 2 months, Mr. Marty told me a story. He said he has a family that in that family you don't punish people anyhow.
Yes, you were telling me.
Yes, you just say the truth. Nobody kills you for saying the truth. Now, why children cannot open up to their fathers is because they are afraid of their father's reactions.
Yes, the consequence that will follow.
Exactly. And until we handle this particular matter, a lot of people are going to keep making mistakes, because if God cannot meet you for one mistake, it means those mistakes are going to they are going to keep repeating those mistakes, and before you would have noticed, everything has already gone bad.
Yes.
Well, it is well. I just pray that God helps our fathers. I saw something sometime. I have a young lady tell the story online. She said that she had a trip, or she took a trip with a boyfriend, and while they were going, they had an accident. So the boyfriend called the father and told the father that the car he's using just got bad, and he's with the girlfriend. They were heading to somewhere. The mother and the father of the boy were so worried. They were asking, okay, so let's send another driver to come pick you up. Are you okay? Have you called the mechanic? How are you feeling? How is the lady? Hope she's fine and everything. And the lady said, you called your father? Said, yes, that's my father. I call my father. You called your father to tell your father that you're going on a trip with a girlfriend. And you even mentioned the girlfriend. Say, yes, I tell my father everything. And the girl, in her whole life, has never ever heard someone say, I would tell my daddy that I have a girlfriend. In fact, their house, you don't mention anything like that. You know, so, in fact, from her post, that she was so shocked to her bone marrows. Now, when the driver came to pick them up and they got to the house, the woman did not focus on saying, I mean, you have a girlfriend, or the man was not angry. They took them in, made sure that they were okay, asked the doctor on them, gave them food, and for crying out loud, do you think a child raised in that kind of home would be able to hide any evil from the parents.
That's good though. That's good.
So when she told that, she said that that changed her perspective of parenting. You know, a lot of us were, I was raised partly in a very strict place. In my secondary school days, I was raised in a very strict place. A place where you don't even say some things, you know, they are very, in fact, it was very, very strict. And it
Okay.
still has effect on me. I still do not think that some things are obtainable, even at this age. But then those things are obtainable actually. So, you know, these things really matter in the life of our kids. And if our fathers want to raise a generation of young people who are going to do better than they did, they must be ready to do better than they are doing right now.
True. True. That's so true. Yeah.
So, any other thing you think we should talk about before we ask questions and then we are good to go?
No, I think we have addressed the whole issue of the reasons, the more obvious reasons why fathers are absent. We have covered them in full. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we have actually. And so this is just thank you everyone that is watching. So we have said a lot of things right now. We have taken time to mention some reasons why fathers can be absent or are absent in some areas of their children's life. So some fathers are absent emotionally. They are not involved in their children's life emotionally. Some fathers are absent even spiritually. Now, I must say this, that if a father is the spiritual head and takes, and in fact, anything that the father takes serious, the children are going to take it serious, because the children tend to have this very they see that this own as the final. So mommy, you can twerk mommy small, you can get mommy to allow you do what you want to do, but when daddy gets involved in that case, they know that daddy is going to take it serious. So when father wants something to be done, it is easier when they support the woman. So you know, in some homes, if the woman wants to get something really done very fast, she goes to the man and say, tell the children to do this thing. So
Yes.
because
So he's most times a more stern parent.
yes. Are you
Yeah, so
there?
the father is generally the parent with that is more stern and know how to motivate the children to do things because of what they see the father, what he represents.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly, and see, and that's very, very that's very it is important that fathers will understand how important. So the way they try to give instructions and make sure that those instructions are obeyed, they should also make sure that those areas of their lives where they're supposed to be very calm, loving, and very active, involved, actually, they should try and be involved. I've ever noticed that when you were younger, that those ones that their father used to come for their PTA meetings used to boast a lot in school. Do you understand? Like I've ever noticed it. Like my
No,
father
no.
is coming for.
As I said, I was not raised or even going to school. I didn't see a lot of fathers in my peers' lives. So no,
Wow.
it wasn't. I had a few people who I could say that person had a father that, I knew that they have fathers, but it was so unimportant to me because most people, it was a mother. It was always a mother. Mothers come to the Parent Teachers Association meetings. The mothers come if there's something wrong at school. It's just mothers, mothers, mothers. It was not about fathers. So it was so normal to me. This abnormality was very normal to me.
Wow. So I remember when we want to have PTA meetings in school, I remember how a lot of people will be saying, my daddy is coming. My daddy is coming. You know, there's this thing they attach to the daddy. I want my daddy to be the one to come this time, not my mommy, not my mommy, not my mommy. And so sometimes even when your mom has picked you from school a lot of times. You insist in the house that it is daddy that is going to pick me today. And when they come to school, as a teacher, I hear them say, I told my daddy to come and pick me today, not my mommy. So you see, they are very, very intentional about these things. And fathers should please make sure they are involved and active in this area. So we have talked about the absence because of the issue of traveling and having to leave. We've talked about the issue of selfishness, that you are selfish, that is why you have to abandon your children. Sometimes we have also talked about fear that some of them are afraid, they are frustrated, life has dealt with them, and they don't even know how to come and face life. Then we have also talked about the fact that mothers are contributing to this, that some mothers are intentionally scaring the fathers away, and so wrong. That's because they think they can do what the fathers can do, or they do not see the importance of the fathers. And then we went ahead to talk about the issue that fathers who are very strict can be absent in some areas of their children's life. You know, you are there, but you are focusing on only on giving instructions, on them obeying you. You are not interested in knowing their own needs
in operating a camp.
Yes. So that can be, and that rigid parenting, this method can be very, very attacking and can cause a whole lot of problems for the children. So we also talked about sickness. That sickness can, though that is not intentional, you didn't plan it. You know, you can have accidents and then you are away from home. It's not planned. So, but as much as you can, even in that season, make sure that you are paying little attention to the things you should pay attention to. Then we talked about, what again did we talk about? I think
we did mention death briefly.
Sir?
Death, we did mention death briefly, like death can cause
death, which is not, it is life that happens for that one. Nobody really plans to die. Nobody wants to die and leave the family, but life happens. And when it happens, we should be able, especially in the case where the woman dies, the man should be able to stand strong for the children, because if you even leave them, they are going to suffer more than they would have suffered if you were there. And the truth is that nobody can take care of a child like the parents, like the biological parents. It's not something I even want to drag with anybody. Nobody can take care of your children like you. So make sure you are there. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why fathers can be absent in their home and can be absent in the lives of their children. And these reasons, apart from that, other ones are workable. They are things that can be adjusted. Exactly. It can be improved upon. There are things that people can consciously and intentionally say, we want this to work, and they begin to make it to work. Apart from that, and any other reason that we have given here, the why fathers are absent, is not something that should, in fact, it's not enough reason, it's not enough excuse for a father to be absent. So no matter what you're facing, where you are, what is happening to you, know that this is your number one responsibility. And if you fail in this one and do well in the other ones, you have not really done well.
And make sure men need to understand also that their job is no more important than the woman's, the wife, the baby mother, the girlfriend. It's no more. So we need to find a balance, and we need to compromise.
Yes. Because that's
the reason why most times, that's the reason why most times you see the mothers at the PTA, the mothers at the doctor, the mothers at because they know how to take time off, but the man always, or in most cases, oh no, I can't do that because I have meetings, or I have this, or I have that. No, you have to make the time to be there for your children, not just the mother.
Exactly. You know, I read the Bible, and the Bible says, I think I'm going to really dig into that portion of the Bible. It says in a place in Igbo, I used to say it in Igbo for those that are Igbo, but I'll try to explain it in English. It's saying, nwa na-enye ọṅụ, a good child, a child that is good, brings so much joy to the father, but the bad one brings sorrow to the mother.
So you want to say it in Hebrew? Let us hear. Even though we don't understand Hebrew, could you say the same thing in Hebrew?
Okay. So how do I even put it? Okay, so nwa na-enweghị nrube isi wiruju nke nna. So like it makes the mother weak, but the one that is doing well, fathers are very quickly to say, that's my son. I mean, he's doing so well. I love that my son is doing well. But when the child begins to do wrong, they begin to tell out the blame to the mother. You didn't do well. I mean, you were there for this child. I was, that kind of thing. So mothers,
we have another saying. I've read a saying that goes, success has many parents, but failure is an orphan.
Exactly. Yes. So because those fathers are always very quick to say, it's not your daughter, your child. But when the child is doing very well, nobody remembers that it was one person that raised the child. Yes. So fathers and mothers are supposed to raise the child together. It is not a one person's duty. And your job is not more important. I know that money is important. We need money to take care of ourselves.
The same way the mother can take the time off, the fathers need to take some time off too.
Exactly. Yeah. I have a friend that stays in Australia. So she told me that now, because they cannot afford to pay a nanny for maybe 2 years for their children, so they do. The father stays in the morning, the mother goes in the afternoon, and then the mother goes in the morning this week, and the father and that's awesome. So it is not only the mother that should take off to come and do something to take care of the children. The fathers too should know that every single time they spend with their children is a very memorable one. And let me tell you, you are not going to live here forever. So the little one you create, the little memory you create for your children, that is the one they are going to remember until whenever.
That's true.
So those memories are very important. Create them as much as you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are having a lot of good time here, and I think after our next program, the next one we're going to do, we are going to find a way to talk about how fathers can get involved in their children's life. That is very important.
Yes.
How fathers can get involved in their children's moral, and of course, so we're going to use our experiences to share on the things that we think we missed out on, and how fathers can make sure that their children are not missing out in those areas. Yes. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us. I mean,
thank you. Yes, it was nice. As usual.
Yeah, that's so sad. Yeah, thank you so much for your comments. Thank you everyone that joined us. We really, really appreciate, and we are sure that you had a great time. We are going to come up here next 2 Sundays by God's grace, and I'm hoping that you're also going to be available to join us. And to you, Dyan, thank you for making our time to be here. I always love you, and I am looking
forward. Your book is on the way.
Oh, I'm so excited! Yes. So I'm going to call you about that. Actually, I'll call you because I need to know the price for the spending.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, it's a gift.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, people, thank you so much.
Bye.
Your family, my regards to your family, and have a very, very beautiful week ahead.
Thank you, and same to you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, people, thank you for joining us this evening. I hope you had a wonderful time, because I did. Because all the things that we talked about are things that are really happening, and they are things that we should pay attention to. whether you are a father, you're a mother, or you're even a single person. If you're single, please, 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 you have a lot of time now. Make sure that you're putting these things into consideration, you're noting them, and of course, you're praying about them. And I don't end this session without saying this one thing, that number one, a father, nobody can handle a product without the manufacturer's guide. You are raising a child and you don't have Jesus. You don't even know God. You don't even understand that God is your number one father. And so you're raising a child and you are raising a child based on what you think. It's like you're handling a product based on what you think about the product. You need to meet God. God is the one that can give you the plan, the right guards and guidelines, and the one that can help you to raise that child. And that is why you need to meet Jesus, because the Bible calls him the way, the truth, and the life. So he said that anyone that has to come to the Father has to come to him through Jesus. And that is why you need Jesus. Jesus is the one that can teach you. When you receive him, you begin, see, you have the Holy Ghost. And the Holy Ghost is the one that teaches you the mind of the Father concerning that child. So maybe you're raising a child that is being difficult to handle, having issues with your children, they're becoming so difficult, especially as if they're in their teenage ages or their teenage years, they are difficult to handle. It is not time to shout. It's not time to disown them. It's not time to do all manner of things. It is time to go back to God, that God should give you guidelines on how to raise that child. Every child is not the same. You have 4 children, they are not the same. Their destinies are different, and you cannot raise the 4 of them the same way. God is the one that will give you that. And if you don't have Jesus, it's not a difficult thing to do. You just have to receive him, and you believe in the work that he has done for us, and you say a simple prayer of salvation, and you have him, and the Holy Ghost is right there at work in you. You can now begin to walk in the manifestation of who you are in Christ Jesus. And maybe you're a fatherless child, you are a single mother, you're going through particularly for the single mothers, you're going through a whole lot. Yes, I stammer, I'm sorry. So for single mothers, you're going through a lot. It's not easy for you. I came to encourage you. God is your helper. He says in Psalm 68 verse 5 that he is the champion of the widows. See, God is going to meet you. God is sending you help. He's not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. Look up to him and you will never be ashamed. But if you look up to people, if you look up to family members, if you look up to relatives, you're going to be surprised. They will disappoint you. But when you refocus your focus and focus on Jesus, the one that can help you, he will help you. And you can only do that when you have Jesus. So you need Jesus in case you don't have Jesus. And then if you're a fatherless child, they're going through a whole lot of things. I understand how it can be. I mean, I've been fatherless for 21 years. I know the pains, I know the challenges, I know what it can be. But I came to encourage you that we have a Father. He said he is the Father of the fatherless. I bring you a word that he is so faithful to, he is too faithful to fail. He will not fail you. He has never failed me before. In the last 21 years, he will not fail you. So you need to embrace him. Embrace the Father's love. Come to the place where you know that the Father is your final option, and trust in him with your whole heart and lean not in your own understanding. He's going to come through for you. He is sending help your way. And let me tell you, God is going to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask or even imagine. He's going to do that. Trust him. Trust him. He's going to do it. And now for the fathers, I pray for fathers that God will help us to have amazing fathers, men that will understand their roles, men that are committed to raising generations. I pray for mothers too, that we are able to have parents that will raise amazing kids, that we know that they will trust God to do what he wants to do in the lives of their children. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me, and thank you for your support. I love you, and I pray that the Lord will bless you this week and grant you your heart's desires. Have a lovely week. God bless you. Bye.